Hey folks, I wanted to show you a couple things today. Hopefully I can show you the different harmonic content between pedals and maybe even the tubes. What'll be obvious is the different gain levels of each tube, and then you'll get to watch me change the tube in this model here to a 12AU7 so we can test the AX versus the AT versus the AU. So here we go. Just for starters, I just have, in this case, I have the 12AX7 just with moderate settings here being compared to a Klon or Harmonics. And if we take a look over at my screen here, this shows this kind of ugly looking wave is what the Klon is doing at 200 hertz. So I'm going to change this over to 1 kilohertz so we can get a more uniform type of typical output for a Klon. And I like to call this like a little shark fin type of distortion. I see it frequently on a tube screamer. It'll be clipped that way because of the soft clipping, but in the case of the Klon, I think it's a hard clipping thing, even with the germanium diodes, so you get a very similar response. Now our tube, because of the way we have it biased, has a little bit of gain here. We got a little bit of a square top. It's very asymmetrical, bottom and top. If I reduce the input, in other words, I play softer, this is a very loud input. 500 millivolts is definitely like a humbucker guitar or someone strumming like mad on a single coil. If I bring it down here to 100 millivolts, you see that they both clean up pretty well. The tube pedal in blue here really cleans up. It's almost a sine wave. It's got 3% distortion, whereas the Klon is at, say, 10% distortion. And as we go down to play something really soft like a 20 millivolt signal, you'll see that the Klon is still, say, 5% and ours is less than 1%. It just means that ours is very dynamic, and if you play with your volume control, you can get it to clean up a lot. So I'll go back to 100 millivolts here, 1 kilohertz, and if we step down on the frequencies, 400 hertz, you start to see the Klon circuit kind of mutate a little bit and get a little bit bent here. So if I crank up the volume, you can see that it starts to look kind of a little bit ugly, you know. It's more of a triangle wave at that point in time. And ours has this, I consider it a very beautiful sounding distortion. When I was playing with tube amps and I'd see this type of thing, I would think, that is what I'm trying to capture, that type of distortion right there. So we have that. You can see here that if you look at the red are all the orders, higher orders of harmonic distortion that the Klon in this case has way up here, and there's not much green in this area here, less distortion. If I play softer, you'll see that the green really collapses much less than the Klon here, which has got a lot of distortion. So now let's see if I can, so that is, okay, that is comparing the AX7 to a Klon. What I'd like to do kind of quickly here is substitute in this AX7 and input here. We'll wait for this guy to power up. It takes about 10 seconds for the signal to get to full strength here. Actually, looks like it might be doing pretty okay. Okay, let's go to our standard reference point so I can have a feel for what's going on. If I have these controls set similarly, can we see the Yep. So the AX7 is on channel 1, and you can see the amount of distortion that it produces is much greater than the AT7. The blue here is going to be the AX7. Not only is it a little bit louder, but it's definitely more clipped.
Yeah, so the blue is the AX7.
Yep.
And anytime you see that plateau, that's
You can
more
think it's
distortion.
more like a square wave.
Yeah.
Yep.
The red is the 12AT7, which red is channel 2, correct?
I think so, yep. Yep, exactly. I think that's a remarkable way to look at the differences between them. It's, you can see the green here is the A. Let me make sure I get this right. Yes, that's the AX7, the green one, and it's got more distortion here and here. You can see it. So let's see if I can do this kind of live. I got some 12AU7 tubes here, and I want to show you how easy it can be to change the tube in here. So what I'm going to do is first loosen up the tube shield, and we'll give you the appropriate
size.
Yeah.
The Allen size.
So
that was quick.
Yeah. I was always hoping, my intent was always that if a tech or a guitar player had to change a tube for some reason, with just a flashlight on backstage, you know, how reasonably well could they do that?
This part's cool. Talk to them about what that is.
Yeah, so this is a little tube extractor pin. We wanted to make sure that people weren't puzzled when they went to get the tube out. And so we thought, man, if we could just develop a little...
Show them the side real quick of that.
Yeah.
You can get in there.
Sure.
Yep, perfect.
And then I just pushed the tube out. That's how fast it was.
No
Isn't that
harm.
great? Yeah. Isn't that great? Creighton designed all this so you're not getting your fingers on, you know, live electrical stuff.
There's danger.
Plus, we've measured the time it takes for our high voltage to dissipate so that you're not going to shock yourself. By the time you get in here, there's no voltage on it. So we've got it remarkably safe. So I'm going to grab my 12AU7 from JJ here, ECC82.
We got the tube out. How do you put it back in?
Yep. And so then this key here, the missing pin, goes right towards me. See that?
Yep. Got it in there.
And you can safely touch here and push here. I just put the tube in.
That easy?
That easy. I mean, I think it can be done in less than a minute, right?
With no bent pins?
Yeah. Isn't that great?
No damage to the glass.
Now, as long as this is a working 12AU7.
We should have tested that, huh?
Well, we could have, huh?
You did just get a Hickok 537?
539?
Nice.
C, yes. So we can test micro mo's. A mo is the inverse or the reciprocal of ohms. So now, don't you wish changing your tubes in your Fender Deluxe or your Supro or your Matchless or your Mesa Boogie was this easy? Holy cow, I didn't even break a sweat or curse. There we go.
Look at you.
Now, hopefully it works. Okay. So now, do you think we should compare it to the 12AX7?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So then we're going to remove this 12AT.
So now channel 1 is going to be 12AX7 and channel 2 will be 12AU. Talk to them about the gain difference just based on the tube.
Yeah. So AX7 has a gain of 100 per triode. When it's actually in circuit, it's actually much lower. It ends up only being about 30 to 60.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then the 12AT7 has a gain of 70, and the 12AU7 I think has a gain of, is it 17 or is it 40?
I think it's
Is
40.
it 20?
I think it's 40, but somebody will let us know how wrong we are.
Yeah. The 12AY7 is a gain of 20.
Oh.
Right? Let me get my.
Now we have to
straight.
Google.
I know.
Hey, Google.
Yeah.
My vote is 12AY is 60 and 12AU is 40.
I think this thing is lying to me. I just know it was 17.
Whoa. I think you said 19.
Okay.
There you go.
So the AY is 40.
Wow.
That's going to be really cool. I wish I would have brought some. Isn't that great? Okay.
That's
so,
V1 in a Tweed Deluxe, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Isn't that fun?
Okay, so we're comparing a
Whoa,
12AX7,
what a huge, massive difference.
which is 100, and a 12AU, which is 19.
Yeah.
And look at that.
A19. Look at that.
Channel 2 is 12AU.
And this is 5%. You can see it's remarkably clean. So how much signal would it take to even get it to break up?
500 millivolts is like a humbucker, right?
Yeah, lightly. Yeah, a humbucker. And then like maximum swing on a humbucker, I think can get over a volt RMS. So here's a volt RMS.
Yeah.
And then if we were to do, this is line levels. This is how it would distort.
A keyboard.
Yep. So you'd get that kind of maximum distortion.
So blue is 12AX7, really squared off. And then the red is 12AU.
Yeah. Now let's go down here back to Stratton Telly land.
Got it.
Right? Look how beautiful that is.
Both of those look great.
Oh, wait, do we have them in the center?
Are the settings?
I had the gain turned up on the AU just.
Oh, so it's going to be
and
less.
the level turned down. Okay, here we go.
Oh,
the same song.
you know what's
only
funny?
Start now.
What's funny is those actually look pretty similar. What you just did. You kind of went back to how it looked because the level was cranked, but the gain was down.
Yes.
Yeah, we're good.
How funny.
Okay, let's look at this though. That's
Great comparison.
A huge difference.
Yeah. Let me make sure I got everything right. Okay. Yeah, I think we're in really good shape now.
Maestro, so for us guitar players, tell us what are we looking at here? Like, how are we going to hear the difference there? 9% distortion versus 1%.
Yeah, I think 1 and 2% distortion sounds like almost like a clean boost to most people, where it's like, hey, something's a little sparkly or jangly, or it just feels better.
Got it.
You know, it's very little. You can see it looks like a perfect sine wave. There's hardly any distortion to it. But a 10% distortion has this kind of beautiful thing where you can now tell it's rock and roll.
Yeah. That's helpful.
That's a great comparison.
Fun.
So you could just increase the level on this tube drive here now to get a similar type of maybe output volume. Well, you're just not going to get as much output
Let me
volume.
see that knob real quick without your finger. Yeah, that's cranked level on the 12AU. And we're still not.
And now I'm taking down the AX7 so we can get something a little bit
Okay,
more.
now we're close.
Yeah.
How much did we have to turn down the output of the 12AX? Pretty, almost, this would be off. And we went to about right there.
Well, yeah. Let me turn it down back to 9 o'clock so that it's similar. Okay. We're almost, yeah, that's close enough.
So the 12AX7 is wider. That waveform is wider. Why is that?
Well, that's the squaring off. That's the distortion of that. That's 10% distortion.
Okay,
That flattened part is not a perfect sine wave.
Yeah.
Yep. And you can see the green over here corresponds to that blue wave. And you can see how much more distortion it has. These are the harmonics, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. See, here's the reason I set it up for 1 kilohertz all the time is that it's really easy to look at where the harmonics are, because the first even ordered harmonic, a note that's like playing a harmonic on your guitar, an octave up, is right here.
At 2K.
Yes.
Got it.
And then 3K for the first odd ordered harmonic. 4K is not listed, but it's clearly right there.
Yeah.
And then here's the 5th
Odd
harmonic.
order harmonic.
Exactly. And so when I was first starting to mod pedals, I'd seen where people, whether it's exactly right or wrong, I'm not exactly sure, but they'll say, well, Marshalls have a little bit more odd ordered harmonics, and there was a pedal called the Blackstone Appliances. Do you remember that thing? It was a pedal. I don't think it had any knobs on it. It just had like screwdriver ports on it. And it was designed specifically to dial in second and third, fourth, fifth order harmonics. And
That sounds amazing.
yes, you should try it. Blackstone Appliances, MOSFET drive or something. Someone will tell us. Someone will Google it. And that's when I started playing around with these generators and then adding, hey, what if I add a second order? What if I add a fourth order? What if I add just a little teeny bit of third and fifth? And then you can start to see how it transforms the wave over time. Then you can experiment with it being asymmetrical, one side not clipping as much with either diodes or with biasing on our tubes, and then you can create additional or more distortions.
Tell us, like, when you say asymmetrical, what is a overdrive pedal we're familiar with that is asymmetrical clipping?
Well, like the Boss SD1 and has 2 diodes in one direction and 1 diode in the other direction. Not a lot of my mods, but I really think that in our rat mod, if I remember correctly, I might have made one of those modes asymmetrical.
Because a rat is symmetrical clipping.
Yeah.
So a SD1, if you're familiar with that sound, you could say
It's like a tube screamer,
Mhm.
but asymmetrical clipping.
Got it.
Yep.
And then a standard rat would be symmetrical.
Yep.
Harsher
Yep.
sounding.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're saying our tube preamp is more asymmetrical.
Yeah, look here. When I drive the input,
Yeah.
I play harder, or I put a boost pedal on before it.
Yeah.
You see how it's clipping?
Starts to clip.
The top of the wave is being clipped much different than the bottom.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yes.
And we wanted to create that so that we could get our distortion figure up. We didn't want to just make a tube clean boost.
No, and a tube amp would do exactly
Yeah.
what we're looking at there.
Very possibly, yeah. Depending on how it was
I see.
biased and
Yeah.
set up and
Nice.
everything like that. In general, they're trying to reduce that possibility. They're trying to enable
Create more
from max.
headroom?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. But we can manipulate that when it's just small signal type stuff and create a distortion.
Well, we are at 18 minutes. This
All
is
right.
this is the nerdiest video Keeley Electronics has ever done, but it is
Well,
amazing.
just for funsies, though, let's look at that shark tooth on this thing here. We'll compare it to our AX7. That was a fun experiment. I got to change the tube.
We hadn't looked at a 12AU together yet.
No, we hadn't. That was first
Because
time.
usually with guitar amps, guys don't really dig 12AUs.
But there was so many people that asked, hey, is this going to be like the BK Butler tube driver design where, sorry, I got a sneeze coming on, where the customer saying, I happen to like it better with the 12AU7 in there. And I think even Andy Timmons says he's experimented along with
We
with
did
that
do some
for a
experiments
lot
with him for sure.
in the past.
So maybe don't be so biased, because with your guitar amp, you'd be like, I'm not going to put a 12AU where a 12AX was, because it's going to lower the gain so much. But with the pedal, it might be a different story.
Yes, because you can use the blues driver part as the preamp to drive the tube harder. So
Look at Jaws
Okay.
came out and played
Yep.
right there.
that's
There's a shark
that's a
fin.
tube screamer. Let's see. Yeah, that's a tube screamer.
Yeah.
Just for funsies, we're gonna look and see what the
I see what you're
Noble's
saying though about the
ODR1.
bottom of that. It looks like the top of the red line
yeah,
there.
very symmetrical.
Yeah. I see what you mean now.
Yep. And you can see that the tube screamer is not a very dynamic pedal, because watch this. As I reduce my guitar playing strength,
It stays the same.
look here. Yeah, it stays the same. It doesn't matter if you roll your guitar down on a tube screamer or not. It's still going to sound like a tube screamer. Look at that. I mean, I'm barely playing, and it's still tube screaming. It's still screaming at me the whole time. The tube has gotten completely clean. This is the
Beautiful.
AX7.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's got 3% distortion. You think you're in clean boost heaven.
Look how much distortion.
And then the tube screamer is still
Has
at
got
8%.
8% at,
At 80 millivolts.
which essentially means you're playing a Strat with the volume almost all the way off.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, so here's what the Noble's ODR1 looks like.
Okay, here we go.
Ooh, isn't that fun? That's a masculine shark fin. Wouldn't What'd you say?
At, again,
At
80
nothing.
millivolts.
Yes. Let's see. Start to crank it up.
Yeah, give me a humbucker.
Yeah.
There we go. Still shark finning.
Yeah. Ours has got a lot of gain going, but you can fix that. All we're going to do is we're going to turn down the gain to about 9 o'clock. No. You're just going to get distortion out of ours. If you're playing that hard into an AX7.
Okay, Maestro. So think as a guitar player when you're looking at that right there.
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe the shark fin sound versus this squared off tube sound?
I would probably, I don't know if I would say this more than once, but at first I would be like, this is ZZ Top, LaGrange, and this is Smashing Pumpkins.
Got it.
I don't know.
Thank you. And on that note, I think it's time to sign off. But I will say, what we're trying to show you is that not only with our pedal, comes out August 12th, can you change the parameters here, the level of the tube preamp, the gain, the tone, but if you switch out tubes, as you just saw, so much variation.
Yeah.
So.
And you can see that it doesn't require any rebiasing. If you put a different tube in there, all of the pedals, whether they had the AU or if they have an AY, there's even an AZ, ATAX, they all have the same clipping style. We have our circuit set up to distort that way on purpose. It doesn't take a rebiasing to get the desired result the way we wanted it to be. You're just going to have a difference in the gain level and how much it's going to break up.
So you're a fixed bias guitar pedal.
It's kind of like it is
You could go on and on about that too.
Well, I don't know. Actually, I could be a little bit wrong. It could be a cathode bias. So
and for our next video, we will.
And for our next video, I'll figure out what I'm doing.
Well, anything else, Maestro, to say, or you feel like this covered what we wanted?
No, I am so lucky to have. Turn around. I have our friend Eddie Heitzelman here.
There's our buddy.
Eddie, artist.
Yeah, so
extraordinaire.
We're going to keep exploring some tones, but
yes, it's great.
Amazing.
Yeah.